Have you ever found yourself staring at your bank account the day before payday, wondering where all your money went? You work hard, you earn a decent income, but somehow you consistently have nothing to show for it at the end of each month. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. A whopping 78% of American workers live paycheck to paycheck, including many who earn six figures. What if I told you that escaping this financial trap has little to do with how much money you make? Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, once said something profound. If you buy things you don't need, soon you'll have to sell things you need. This simple insight reveals why so many high-income professionals remain financially fragile, while others with modest salaries accumulate significant wealth. In How to Escape the Salary Trap, I'll reveal 5 hidden financial patterns that keep you trapped in this cycle, patterns that remain invisible until someone points them out. More importantly, I'll share the exact system that has helped thousands of my clients escape financial anxiety regardless of their income level. By the end of this video, you'll discover the invisible leak in your finances that's silently draining thousands of dollars from your bank account every year. Why willpower is your worst enemy when trying to save money, and what to use instead. The counterintuitive pay yourself first strategy that transformed my client Sarah's finances in just 90 days. How to create multiple streams of income without working 80 hours a week. I'll also share the remarkable story of a Dallas teacher who used these exact principles to go from $37,000 in debt to complete financial freedom in less than 3 years, all without a raise or career change. Stay tuned until the end, because the 5th financial model is the most surprising of all. And by simply addressing it, you can change your financial reality in just 60 days. If you're ready to break free from the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle once and for all, hit that subscribe button now and comment "Freedom" below. Your journey to financial peace starts today with the insights in this video. 1. No budget, no plan. Let me share the first critical reason most Americans remain being trapped at the paycheck cycle. They have absolutely no idea where their money goes each month. This might sound obvious, but it's profoundly important. Imagine trying to drive cross-country without a map or GPS. You might eventually reach your destination, but the journey will be inefficient, frustrating, and filled with wrong turns. I worked with Michael, a software engineer earning $120,000 annually in Seattle, who couldn't understand why he had nothing left at month's end. When I asked him to estimate his monthly expenses, he was off by over $2,300. This wasn't because he was careless. It's because the human mind simply isn't designed to track dozens of transactions across multiple accounts without a system. This lack of awareness creates what behavioral economists call money leaks. Small, consistent drains on your finances that go unnoticed, but collectively prevent wealth building. The $14 lunch here, the $9 subscription there, the impulse Amazon purchase, none seem significant in isolation, but together they sabotage your financial future. Consider the ancient Japanese practice of kakeibo, the art of financial mindfulness. For centuries, Japanese households have tracked every yen that enters and leaves their home, creating heightened awareness that naturally leads to better decisions. This simple practice has contributed to Japan having one of the highest savings rates in the developed world. The solution isn't complicated, but it requires commitment. First, track every single expense for 30 days using an app like Mint or YNAB, or even a simple spreadsheet. The mere act of recording expenses creates awareness that automatically improves decisions. Next, implement a simple framework like the 50-30-20 rule. 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt repayment. What makes this approach powerful isn't just the mathematics, it's the psychology. When you direct your money intentionally rather than reactively, you transform your relationship with finances. You move from a position of confusion and anxiety to one of clarity and control. 2. Not paying yourself first. The second financial pattern keeping you trapped in the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle is waiting until the end of the month to save what's left over. This approach virtually guarantees failure because it fundamentally misunderstands human psychology and spending behavior. Here's the hard truth. For most Americans, there is never anything left over at month's end. Expenses mysteriously expand to consume whatever income is available, a phenomenon economists call Parkinson's Law as applied to money. If you receive $5,000 monthly, you'll find ways to spend $5,000. If you receive $10,000, your lifestyle will expand accordingly. I remember working with Jennifer, a marketing executive making $85,000, who had tried and failed to save money for years. Her breakthrough came when she flipped her approach. Instead of treating savings as an afterthought, she began paying herself first by automatically transferring 15% of each paycheck to a separate account the day it arrived. Within 6 months, she had saved more than in the previous 5 years combined. This principle appears across cultures and throughout history. The ancient Jewish practice of ma'aser, setting aside the first tenth of income, reflects this wisdom. In his classic book, The Richest Man in Babylon, George Clason popularized this as pay yourself first, emphasizing that the portion of your income that builds your future should be the first priority, not the last. The mechanism for implementing this principle is automation. Removing human decision-making from the equation entirely. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to a separate savings or investment account the day after your paycheck arrives. Start with whatever percentage feels manageable, even 5%, and gradually increase it. The key is establishing the habit and system. What makes this approach so powerful is that you adapt to living on what remains. Within a few months, you won't even notice the money being transferred away. Yet those automatic deposits, consistently made and properly invested, become the foundation of your financial transformation. 3. Relying on one income. The third crucial factor keeping Americans financially vulnerable is overdependence on a single income stream. This creates a precarious situation where job loss, illness, or industry disruption can instantly devastate your financial life. Looking at self-made millionaires reveals a striking pattern. Most have developed multiple income sources that provide both security and growth potential. This principle is captured beautifully in an ancient proverb. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Financial resilience works the same way. Each additional income stream strengthens your position and reduces vulnerability. Yet most Americans remain completely dependent on their employer for 100% of their income, creating unnecessary fragility. Consider Thomas, a high school teacher in Chicago who transformed his finances by creating just one additional income stream. He began tutoring online for 5 hours weekly, generating an extra $1,200 monthly. Rather than increasing his lifestyle, he invested this money consistently. 5 years later, his side income had funded a rental property that generated passive income, creating a third revenue stream that will continue paying him for decades. The most powerful aspect of multiple income streams isn't just the additional money, it's the psychological freedom it creates. When your survival doesn't depend entirely on a single employer, you gain confidence, negotiating leverage, and peace of mind that transforms your relationship with work and money. You're no longer trapped, you have options. Creating additional income doesn't require starting a major business or working exhausting hours. In today's digital economy, opportunities abound. Freelancing skills on platforms like Upwork or Fiverr, creating digital products, affiliate marketing, or monetizing knowledge through online courses. Even modest rental income from a spare room can begin building your income portfolio. The key insight is starting small, but starting now. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a month, but drastically underestimate what they can build in 5 years of consistent effort. Begin with whatever time and resources you have available. Reinvest the proceeds, and systematically reduce your dependence on a single income source. 4. Emotional spending. The fourth pattern that keeps people financially trapped might surprise you. Emotional spending. Money decisions aren't made in a vacuum of perfect rationality. They're profoundly influenced by our emotional state. When we feel stressed, anxious, bored, or inadequate, spending temporarily relieves these uncomfortable feelings, creating a dangerous pattern that sabotages financial progress. This psychological pattern has roots in our brain chemistry. Shopping actually triggers dopamine release, the same neurotransmitter activated by certain addictive drugs. This creates a cycle where negative emotions lead to spending, which provides temporary relief, followed by financial stress that triggers more negative emotions and more spending. Breaking this cycle is essential for financial freedom. I remember working with David, an accountant who tracked his spending for 30 days and made a shocking discovery. Nearly 40% of his discretionary spending occurred when he was experiencing stress or negative emotions. Shopping when stressed, ordering expensive takeout when tired, and upgrading travel accommodations when anxious added up to over $1,200 monthly. Money that could have been building his financial future. What makes emotional spending particularly challenging is that it often masquerades as self-care. We tell ourselves, "I deserve this," after a hard day, confusing consumer behavior with genuine self-nurturing. The Japanese concept of ukeireru, accepting emotions without acting on them, offers wisdom here. We can acknowledge stress, fatigue, or boredom without immediately seeking to eliminate these feelings through spending. The solution isn't to deny emotions or never spend on enjoyment. Instead, it's about creating conscious separation between feelings and financial decisions. The 24-hour rule has proven remarkably effective. For any non-essential purchase over a certain amount, perhaps $50 or $100, wait a full day before buying. This cooling-off period allows the emotional trigger to subside so you can evaluate the purchase rationally. Even more effective is developing alternative responses to emotional triggers that don't involve spending. When my client Sarah felt the urge to shop after stressful workdays, she began taking evening walks instead. This simple habit reduced her emotional spending by nearly 70% while providing better stress relief than shopping ever did. 5. Not investing your money. The fifth and perhaps most significant barrier keeping Americans trapped in the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle is a fundamental misunderstanding about wealth building: the failure to invest. Saving money is important, but by itself, it will never create financial freedom. True wealth building requires putting your money to work through strategic investments that grow over time. This principle is illustrated by a powerful story about famed investor Warren Buffett. At a dinner party, a guest asked Buffett how he became so wealthy. Buffett pointed out the window as the sun was setting and said, "Do you see the sun going down? It will rise again tomorrow. The difference between most people and me is that while they know the sun will rise, I actually wake up early to take advantage of it." This metaphor captures the essence of investing, positioning yourself to benefit from forces that work, whether you pay attention or not. The math behind this principle is staggering. If you save $500 monthly in a standard savings account at 0.5% interest, after 30 years, you'll have about $186,000. If you invest the same amount in a low-cost index fund averaging 8% returns, you'll have over $745,000, a difference of more than $500,000. Yet countless Americans keep their money in low-yield savings accounts, effectively losing purchasing power to inflation year after year. What keeps people from investing? For many, it's fear and confusion. The financial industry has deliberately mystified investing, making it seem complex and risky. In reality, successful investing for most people is remarkably straightforward. A simple portfolio of low-cost index funds consistently funded over time has built more wealth for average Americans than any other approach. I worked with Rachel, a nurse in Atlanta, who had kept $37,000 in a savings account for years, earning essentially nothing. Her breakthrough came when she overcame her investing anxiety and created a simple portfolio of 3 index funds. 5 years later, her investment had nearly doubled, while requiring virtually no maintenance or expertise on her part. The psychological barrier to investing isn't just fear. It's also the perception that you need substantial money to begin. This simply isn't true. Many platforms now allow you to start with as little as $50, making investing accessible to almost anyone. The key isn't how much you start with, but that you start at all, harnessing the extraordinary power of compound growth over time. The financial patterns we've explored today represent real barriers that keep millions of Americans financially stressed, despite their best efforts and hard work. But here's the truth that gives me hope. None of these patterns are permanent. Each can be broken with the right approach and systems. I've seen remarkable transformations as people move from living on the edge of financial security to building true security and freedom. Not by making more money, but by changing these underlying patterns. Think about which of these 5 barriers resonates most with you. Is it a lack of awareness about where your money goes? Not paying yourself first? Relying on a single source of income? Emotional spending? Or not investing? Identifying your main challenge is the first step to overcoming it. What excites me most is that implementing even one of these solutions can create immediate momentum in your financial life. You don't have to change everything at once. Start with the area that feels most relevant to your situation. Create a budget. Set up an automatic transfer. Develop an additional source of income. These single actions, sustained over time, will add up to life-changing financial results. I truly believe that financial freedom isn't about how much money you make. It's about the systems you build and the habits you develop. The richest people I know aren't necessarily the highest earners, but the ones who have mastered these money management fundamentals. If this message resonated with you today, I'd love to hear which of these 5 models has been most meaningful to you in your financial journey. Leave a comment below to share your biggest takeaway and how you plan to address it. Your insights may be just what someone else needs to hear to start their own transformation. Please give these ideas a thumbs up if you find them valuable. It helps others discover these important principles. Share this video with someone you care about who might be struggling financially. And if you're determined to break out of the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle, subscribe to our channel so we can keep making more valuable videos. Remember, financial transformation isn't about big changes or get-rich-quick schemes. It's about implementing sound principles consistently over time. The small changes you make today can radically change your financial reality over the next few months and years. You have more power over your financial future than you may realize, and it starts with breaking these patterns. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I look forward to supporting you on your journey to financial freedom.